It's about 6:30 and it peaceful dark.
It's only afternoon.
Hmm.
Oh, I thought it's about 8 p.m. Oh, maybe 7 p.m. and you have just finished your dinner and you said us that, oh, I'm available soon because you finished your dinner soon.
No, I just have a brain fart moment, so I can't focus on my paperwork. I'm not gonna work out. So I'd rather engage in the
Oh.
conversation with some human rather than just like
You
go over with some Reddit read or maybe I couldn't even read any comic nowadays. It's not updated yet, so there's some delay in some of my favorite comics. So,
ah,
hmm.
you also read some comic in your free time.
It's not
Like
actually
I
it's not actually comic. It called manhua, manhua or manhua or something. I'm not sure I'm saying correctly.
it's from Korea.
Yeah, it's Korean. So like
Ah,
sometime I'm afraid that if I say it incorrectly, it's gonna sound like manhua, we're from Chinese and completely different.
oh yes, that's right. Oh, I prefer watching K-drama more reading.
No.
Yes.
I'm really
Why?
I'm really scared of those serious dramas. So normally drama is go with serious couple.
Oh, uh,
If I
oh, sorry. It's just I just can hear you for a few seconds, but now it's okay.
it could be because my internet.
Ah, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reason I say it dangerous for me is when I watch some of it. Don't get me wrong. Korean have some pretty good drama. It have
Yes.
good story. It have good visual. They they also have good acting. And when I
Mm.
watch one episode and it's like look good, I'm gonna be hooked. And I kind of spend a whole day watching that. So last time I tried some, and when I start something, I love to finish it, and it kind of I watch in the fast motion, skip, 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 skip. Oh, it's really dangerous.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
It's really
Oh,
dangerous.
yeah, it's dangerous. Like, this week I have a lot of things to do, but I
Yep.
just watch I had 10 episodes, 10 chapter, and each chapter is about 1.5 hour. And yay, I just spent 5 days with a lot of deadline and with 10 episodes, and I just really sleepy. Just last night, I just sleep about 3 or 4 hours, and right now I pretend to take a nap before your class, but when I check my phone, I see your email, like, oh, so
Mm,
just start soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's like quite interesting when you share that you like reading comic because I thought that you only listening to the podcast or do something really knowledge for that kind of thing.
oh, come on, I'm not like super genius. I'm not that nerdy. I'm just a normal guy. Um, a lot of time, it's dopamine is really dangerous things. I'm gonna say I like to watch a lot of movie, but now it kind of less because I watch lot, lot, lot of movie. And now it's really kind of boring because I kind of know all of the plots and twists. So it's really hard. Hey, Dom, how you doing? We should discuss about my bad behavior when I'm kind of feel addicted to comic and movie. Now it's like it's less for movie. And comic is some kind of not manhwa, not comic. Is it kind of it released in a really short reading platform. Sometimes it's have one chapter. I only spend about 5 minutes to read it. So really good for me, save me time. And I drop not drop, I finished a lot of series or series. I only have a few that I really like nowadays. We see Overgear, uh, Mercenary Enrollment, Absolute Dominion, Eternally Regressive, Regress, Nike, Nike. Yeah,
Like you follow a lot of story.
yeah,
So do you feel like sometimes you read a lot of story and each story have different
yeah.
content and when you come back because it's update every week, a new chapter. So when you come back you forgot what is that about. Just like
No,
a mix up between many story,
no.
many yeah, topic.
I'm actually remember what I'm reading for. In some of those series, I kind of see myself in there. It's really funny. It's like some of the characters, the story is not really some of the story is kind of sci-fi, but I can see some of the normal daily life in there, and some of the behavior I can see that I'm doing there. So it's funny. Where I'm going.
Oh, or you just out?
Just join again. I don't know.
Oh, maybe some problem with his equipment. Is
Yes.
that?
Okay. What happening? But what happening with you, Tom? So like, oh, you look wet all over your hair.
Yeah, I'm just watch my face, teacher.
Right.
I have just watched my face.
Hmm. Right. So first of all, just want to check out how is everything? Everything new happening this week? Do you have any particular topic do you want to talk about today, or do you want me to make up some topics so we can talk about? Oh, yeah, I remember one topic from Jamie, and but not about them.
I think I had a lot of topic
Hmm.
in this week was a discussion with you. Oh, but you know what? I just received an announcement that tonight class I have I just off because we have a firework in Da Nang tonight, and my teacher just let me off. Yes, although I have to review for my IT text for tomorrow, but it's a good news. Yay!
What is the occasion for the firework at Da Nang?
I don't know. Do you know Tam? Because I don't follow much about this event because I had crowded place.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, so the firework festival, yeah,
Firework
host
festival.
every year, and it's usually takes place in summertime, teacher. Yeah, maybe yeah May, June, July, yeah, sometime like that. And yeah, it's have many days. Yeah, so and actually I didn't I haven't turning any information about this festival because I don't care about that because I think because I have like watched the fest like the firework performance many times, so it's yeah it's pouring to me right now, and I yeah
Mm.
Yeah, kind of similar to me as well. I used to work as a retail personnel at Wingware in Saigon. I used to sell battery, camera, and stuff like that at on Wingware Street. And every New Year they celebrate a firework, something like that. It kind of fun in the beginning, but by the time go by, it's boring. It's just a lot of people. It's really annoying. I found it's only special when I moved to Australia. So during New Year, we just go in there. Me and my sister just sit next to each other, looking at fireworks, just talk shit to each other, and then we just have fun, and then we go home. Yeah, it's funny that way rather than just going there. I don't know. I hate crowded place. In here, we're just driving around. It's not that crowd. So it's good.
Mm.
Relax. Okay. So,
it's oh
yep,
yes. So just move to the next topic because we have a lot of things to discuss.
yeah.
Oh man. Hmm. What's what required?
No, I'm just
Like
waiting for you to pull it up. Kind of remember I have
ah
your memo in here. So last time you wrote me an email saying that you have some condition in the contract, even though it kind of not beneficial for, let's say you have two sides, one is your client, the other one
yes.
is, how should I say, the other party. So normally
Yeah.
when you draft a contract, you kind of favors or drafting a lot of favors term and good condition for your client compared to the other party. It's really it's in that case it kind of fall into the gray area. Um, just want to recap. So what do you want? What question do you want to ask me? So I'm not gonna answer the question you already know.
Yeah. Like I just realized that this is a very special contract. That is a loan contract that
Hmm.
another party want to lend my client's money. So you can see that because the like B is the one that borrow and is the one uh, yeah, B is the party that B want to borrow money. So you can see that in these situations, B is the one who need money. So it's on the under. I don't know how to say, but when you give someone borrow your money, it's lend or borrow your money.
Yep.
So when you write contract, you have to write more clause that protect your right
Yep.
rather than protect the B because B only borrow the money and they have to give back all that money and also uh, the the license is yeah give back yeah it's just only that but with A you have to make sure that uh, you have to a lot of clause to make sure that B like finish done all the money. Yeah. So uh, maybe sometimes you when you look at the contract, when I look at contract, sometimes it's not fair for me, but although two parties discussion about that contract, but sometimes it's not fair. But yeah, we have to accept that because we is like we have the word in Vietnam, kèo dưới, so you
Yep.
can request more. Yeah, I just really like that. If that's true, or maybe it's just from my perspective, so it's kind of
No, there is some case like that, but I believe in Vietnam they have some specific term that you set for the interest rate. So I'll maybe talk about interest rate if that you're talking about. So in terms of if you lend the money to the third party, so you have to put a lot of clause in how set out a term when the borrowing party need to repay the money, set out a term, and then the interest rate. If they fail to do so, there's some implication or there's some term that the third party had to act by it. But in Vietnam, there's some clause that restriction you cannot set the interest rate too high. I believe it up to
mm,
five times the interest rate of the government or something. Uh, don't get, don't quote me on that. Please do a research on that. Last time I checked, it was a while ago. Um, it cannot exceed 5 times or something, or maybe I don't know.
yeah. In
Up,
Vietnam,
up.
in
Yes.
Vietnam the interest rate not higher 20%
Yep.
in a year. or a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to
when
make sure with that.
when you cross that line is become cho vay nặng lãi. I'm not sure because we don't have it here. We don't have that in Australia, so I do not know the time. So, and you do something like that, a lot of people being caught by that. So like, do you know the name? Do you remember the name of the person who in charge of Dr. Tan?
Yes, the person who what?
In
Sorry.
charge of Dr. Tan. The um, yeah, yeah, Dr. Tan.
Oh, do you? Sorry, Tan, but do you maybe from
Let me
me?
just have a look.
But
Trần Quý Thanh, Trần Quý
Yep,
Thanh.
yep. So
oh,
they play a lot of that in the background, and they kind of take away the property of the borrower using some really weird clause. And because in here you have a lot of in real world, like in law, it's really black and white. It's easy for us to discuss about, but in business, there are a lot of factors have to come into, especially in Vietnam. So in Vietnam, you work with networking, and a lot of people afraid that well, if you fight back, first of all, it go with a lot of paperwork, and second of all, let's say one of the reason why Nguyễn Quý Thanh bị bắt, tại vì có thế lực của ổng cũng bị bắt luôn, họ thanh trừng á, thì same case in here. So it's also depend on the person who back him up. So he don't go around do some silly thing without the knowledge that there's some people backing him, and he by paying them in the background as well. So that why all the paperwork going smoothly. Because if you take the law in the very beginning, that all black and white, they all do illegal stuff. So that's why I'm just trying to say, okay, in paperwork, the different thing, in real life, it's different thing. Does that make sense? But when you try
yeah,
to do with black and white, you stick with the law that's set out. So let's say when investigation coming in, you're not going to be caught by doing illegal stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But again, so I'm not sure in Vietnam, but in Australia, you have contract law and then you have common law as well. So in the contract law, you can draft whatever you want, you can sign in whatever you want, set out a lot of terms that beneficial for your client and not beneficial for the third party who is signing the contract. However, just go along with it. So, however, when there is something going on in the term and contract, so let's say assume that the other person do not know there's some really tricky clause in there, they can fight. They can choose to go to court and fight using the common law. So they're two separate law. So even though if you base on the contract law, it's unfair, but it's still valid and it's a binding contract. But if you decide to appeal the contract using the common law, you have a different chance of winning. So for example, last time when I mentioned to you that based on the contract law, when the employer, he checked out again, when the, should I just wait for them to join back in again?
yeah.
Okay. Right.
What's wrong with you?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So based on, let's say before you start to work at a company, you have to sign on in an employment contract. You're saying that it stay specifically in there that you have to double check your pay slip or pay rate or the amount you've been getting paid and appeal within 21 days. If you go past that day, you cannot appeal. Even though when you sign that, right, you know about that. Okay, you keep doing because potentially you just saying that you're afraid to lose your job. But you take note of all of the hour you've been working or something like that. And there's some point that they paying you a wrong amount and they keep doing that for a long period of time, and then you talk to that and then they refuse to amend or back pay the amount that they owe to you. Now you can use the evidence that you have and go to court and appeal and sue them. They can potentially say that no, you sign a contract, the contract says that da, da, da. If it's past 21 days, you cannot appeal. Yes, in a contract, they don't do anything wrong. But flip side, if you common law in there and you have work right, whatever, you have different authority. I'm not gonna say it because I don't remember. They're gonna say no, you do illegal shit. So that way we have different time when you sign a contract with an employee, so you're not allowed to do that. And they're gonna use that term, and the common law gonna override the contract law. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's quite weird because in Vietnam it's different because common law is like an original law. So every other law you have to follow the common law.
Yeah.
Like you have each area, you have each law, like contract law,
Yeah.
but every clause you have to follow and not, break the common law clause. Yeah, so it's quite weird in Australia, right?
Yeah. Well,
It's different, not weird. Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
different
different.
across the board. So when it comes to law, I'm not really an expert in it, but that's how I'm being taught. So they always have a different case. So when you present your case to the court, is also how you present it, so the court can decide in favor to you. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so that why if you want to sue somebody, go with a good one, pay with an expensive one, because though they know what the heck they're doing. That right is really expensive, and with the more experienced one, I'm not saying that the one just the highest right gonna be the good one. Well, you have to know like a lot of time it's better than what's up now, and you do backtrack of how they're performing. So yeah, how should I say that? Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that. Yeah, it's complicated. So that why you have to learn a lot of shit when you're doing law.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
really complicated.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recently not in a battle with immigration department, but I present my case as well. But when I'm present my case, a lot of time if you try to this again, I don't think I'm good at a lawyer. If you try to do the right thing, you do what you should do is stick strictly to the law set out and you'll be fine. But I'm watching some of the law on podcasts and it's, I mean, I don't think I can work in the law industry, to be honest.
Because like sometimes it's just
It sound like law is, when the lawyer when they debate or something like that. It's more like how they can negotiate the deal with the judge rather than trying to prove what's right and what's wrong. Does that make sense?
yes, that's right. I think that
Well,
when you
I'm
become
not
a
really.
lawyers, there are
I,
no right or wrong. It's like it's like yeah, it's not hard, just like it's not black or white, it's just gray. It
but
depends on you, how you say, and how the judge want to do.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
it's also depend on how do you want to tackle your client as well. Because I believe issue. I'm not sure if I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. But potentially, if the one that they really good at it and they have a really good ethic at it and they try their best to be good at it, those are really rare, and you cannot have access to those. Does that make sense? And for those kind of lawyer, they're not gonna touch on small case. Normally, they do big case only. I don't know. I don't even know what the heck I'm saying. But yeah, so a lot of time when I listen to lawyer when they debate on podcasts, and they say, "Oh, I know at that time, I know that Gandhi he talking about a case that he represent for one of his client, and one of his client he straight out jackass, and he have a lot of money, and he trying to fight with the spouse of his client to get the right to raise the children. And he's staying here. He know the nature of his client, and he feel for the other party. And when he talk in the podcast, he get to really emotional, and he say that I wish because the other party, which is the spouse of the client, hire a lawyer, but because she don't have much of money, she only able to afford this lawyer. But this lawyer is really good, but she is not that experienced in the field. And he told a story, and he's saying that during the hearing, he can say that I wish the other lawyer do this, do that, do this, do that, and they could secure the raising right of the children for the spouse. But because the other lawyer did not that much of experience, the opening being closed. And the lawyer, when he told the story, he get really emotional because when you represent the client, you have to sign a lot of contract or some etc. 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 And he cannot do anything. So that's why I'm just trying to tell you, I don't think I can work in the law industry. Don't don't get it the wrong way, mate. Don't get it the wrong way. Okay? Do
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. Do whatever you do best. Try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So teacher, like your micro it's got it have some problem, teacher. Yeah, like Jamie, do you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it just drop the sound, but
Yeah,
I can just translate it.
yeah, nó bị rè.
Ah,
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes,
Let me
sometimes, sometimes.
let me just turn it off. Turn it on again.
cái xe của nó thì
For my microphone, I'm not sure. Could be because of my internet. It's been on and off the whole day. So next time I maybe
Maybe because it's just sometimes you just
Yeah, just sometimes, yeah. But we can try to to understand.
next
yeah
time
because we
because
have
now
subtitles.
I cannot switch straight to my work phone hotspot because it gonna disconnect the session and then it's gonna end up the recording. I'm gonna have to start a different one and have to upload different part. I'm really lazy. Right. Okay. So where was we? Okay. Yeah. Get back to the law. So it's really interesting. So I've listened to a few lawyer. Man, there's sometime it killing them. I'm telling you that. It killing them. For
I
some
think
case like
so.
that, even I'm just listening, I'll just imagine putting myself in that situation. Oh my God, I don't think I can handle that. It's really hard for me though. It's really hard.
From teachers that he has a
Mm.
lot of experience in law, he said that nothing too difficult. like like everything have solution.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know, but like he really good at law.
Yep.
So I just don't know why can he can do it because uh there are some case really complicated. Like people can imagine that it can win, but he can do it. Oh, that's amazing. I don't know why.
So the thing
It's
here, I'll gonna break it down potentially. This is my perspective, right? Right. So let's say when you put thumbs up, it different. It meaning good in Vietnamese or meaning good in English. But when you travel to in a different country, when you say thumbs up, it mean it's not good. Does that make sense?
yes.
Right. So when you interpreted the law like that, it depends on how you navigate your your story, how you navigate your case, and how you use your evidence to your advantage. Because the judge is not really decide which party is right and which party is wrong. The judge is just there just to look at the evidence and the case being represented. Who represent the case better, have more evidence, or the way that they present the evidence better, potentially would win the case. But that is just the logical part of it. But when you look at an ethical part of it, that's a different story. See, so that way I'm trying to say, if you really want to win, a lot of time I think I've talked to a few people already. If you really want to win in an argument, if you really want to win, you can always try to find a way to win an argument. But in a relationship, would do you think that gonna be good for you? So in an argument, so like if you think you can win all the fight, do you think it's gonna be good for you? I'm just asking the question. I'm not gonna answer that question. See? So that's why I'm saying I cannot work as a lawyer. Sometimes I don't want to
Oh,
win.
like yeah, it's had many meanings
See?
from a sentence. Yeah. But like the judge, they
Mm,
always know who is right and who is wrong. But just like you say, yeah, they like no, I don't know. But from what I hear and from what I experience, like they just always know who is right and who is wrong. No, it's
mm,
not right or wrong, but who is like there are some case tranh chấp đất đai, like they know that who is the right owner, who is the wrong owner, but they just based on the evidence, and sometimes it's have a
mm.
back door.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, so it's
Yeah. So see, there is
depends on a lot of factors.
it's really different when I'm talking the law in here, applying here in Australia, and when I'm talking to the law in Vienna, it have a lot of different. So for instance, so when I fought, or not fought a case, when I represent the case from my father, right? So there's some law, no, in Australian law, the government cannot impel or sentence a person for fleeing the country, right? But in Vietnam, if you do that, they kind of sentence you. So last time they sentenced my father for 3 years. See?
Sentence?
Sentence
Sentence,
Uh,
mean tù chéo,
uh,
means tù chéo.
sentence là kết án đẩy đi tù 3 năm.
oh,
Hmm. See? So there's some different in here. And because of how the court being represented, so in Vietnam, if some major figure being knocked down, doesn't matter if you do it right or wrong, if the government decide you are wrong, they're gonna sack you regardless. You remember Jack Ma,
Yes,
the
Jack Ma.
CEO or the founder of Alibaba? So
Baba. Yeah.
after he make a statement, something related to the government, he gone after like 2 weeks or so. See?
Yeah.
So sometimes the law is black and white and it is for you, but sometimes they just in there for decoration. But at
Yeah.
least you try to do the right thing and stay true with your personal ethical. I'm not sure. It's a bit heavy. It's a bit heavy.
Ethical.
Yeah. So again, sometimes you listen to me, take my word with a grain of salt. Okay? Do not that do not take that seriously and then I don't know affect your daily life. Just only take the good thing out of me. Do not take the bad thing. Do not take the bad thing
No,
out of
but
me.
yeah, but what you're sharing from like uh, right now is
Hmm.
really a big question in this area.
Yep.
Yeah, always. Even when I, have an interview to my legal club, they also ask me this question.
Hmm.
Like, sometimes you know your client is a bad person, but you have to like represent for him in the course.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you do? But when you be a lawyer, when you know present for your what's that thân chủ, yeah, they always like you can say that they are right or wrong because when the court give a decision, you only know who is right or wrong, so you don't like just
Yeah.
yeah just like that. Yeah, it's always a big question.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. A lot of time they have to do a lot of time people have to do the thing that they do not like, but the reason behind it because they just want to secure a better life for their family. So I have no
Yeah.
issue with it. I have no issue with it. Sometimes I make that decision too. So yeah, it's really because the thing that I'm afraid for myself is if I'm doing that on the daily basis, I'll do it every single day. If I'm doing the same thing and I'll apply the same thing on a daily basis, I'm gonna start to have that behavior at home when I always want to win everything. Yeah, so I rather because with me, I'm always trying to do thing in subconsciously. Like I'm trying to do the thing that at work. If I'm doing something at work, I'll do exactly the same at home. So I'm not gonna switch my friend. It's just there's some information I'm withhold. That's different story. But how I behave at work is actually how I behave at home and how I behave in here.
Oh.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So let's
Yes,
say
I think.
if I'm a lawyer, because the nature of the work of the lawyer is you always try to be win. You don't want to lose because win is your credibility. You build up yourself as you always win the case, no matter what. See, so if I have that attitude at work, and I'm gonna bring that attitude at home, and I'm gonna bring that attitude to everywhere else. Like, for example, if I'm because I'm in a conversation with somebody and that person always trying to be right at something and that person is really not fun to talk to. But sometimes when you listen to him, when you break down how can you make up the case, come up with a few things just to make the thing right. Yes, it sounds nice, but back to the normal conversation. It's like the behavior is just subconsciously eating in him, and he always tried to win at every single thing.
Win.
And it's just fuck. I don't want to talk with you, mate. It's just fucking torture. Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm walking away. I don't want to talk with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But different people have different view. I don't know, but it just applies for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe some people know how to
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm just trying to say. So some people like water, some people like alcohol, some people like, I don't know, soft drink. Different people have different tastes. I'm not that person, so I'm not a good lawyer. That's what I'm trying to say. Uh, do you have anything to talk about them? Let you break it away. It's just a bit heavy. Let break it away for a bit.
I don't know how to say it. I just want to listen to you guys.
Okay. Was that you raise your hand, Jamie?
He just too lazy. Why you attend the class and you don't say anything?
No. With me, I'm the same with all of the meeting. Because Tom is just like me
Oh,
in a meeting. I just want to listen. Because if you
oh
have
no,
nothing to
because
say, you better stay quiet. But I'm trying to engage if Tom have some question to ask. If not, we just move on. No issue. Don't put it that way.
oh really? Because I
Mm.
thought that in the conversation we have to let somebody opportunity to say, not just talking too much about ourselves or problem. That's because when you say too much about yourself and you just always talking with your problem, it will be make the conversation going down. So I just scared, afraid of them you were being boring about the topic, so just trying to what
Right.
to something that you interested in, just like that. Because I thought that me and Mystic just deep into this topic, and yeah, because I have a lot of questions to ask you about this, about my my major. Because this week I have another experience with the wheel.
Hang on. Experience
Ye-
with the wheel. Ah, yep. Yep.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah. So it's a really interesting topic, and recently I have a report to do with the task.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to ask you some question. The difference between Australia and Vietnamese laws about thuế bất động sản thứ hai.
Mm.
Yeah. Because like I have to when I read something information and while I summary it, I have to give some of my view to that report, and I think that will better than you just take all the information on the internet and put on your report and do not thinking about it, do
Mm.
not have any opinion about that. So yes, so yeah,
Yeah, I'm listening.
so
So, what?
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry, I
that's
have to go 1 minute, 1 minute.
He bailed. He
you're
bailed out.
quite busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really like when I have the deadline, like the time I have to do this report is 1 week, but I just spend 2 days for this, and I thought that 2 days is fine because I can do it in 2 days. But when I just find some information and do a research on it, I find that that I just over information. That's too much information for me,
Hmm.
and this is quite a really complicated thing
Yeah.
in life.
Okay.
And I think
So,
that is yeah, you're
do you want
back.
to do you want to talk about it, and then what information you find? Yeah, we can talk about it, especially about the tax on the second property. Is it?
Yeah, tax on the second property. Yeah. Oh, maybe this. can update your information, Tam, because right now in Vietnam we have changed the law. We don't have any detailed law about this situation, like tax
Yeah,
the second
yeah,
property. Yeah, you know that. And right now there's some suggestion on this area that we will previous in the past there are some suggestion that we like if you have the second property uh it's always be in tax, but right now it's only tax with it depends on how you use that land, how you use that property. It depends on the the purpose when you use that land, and the government will uh, tax with the second property because it will reduce the like some people that just buy land or property for living or for maybe for the future for the children, yeah, and they use it so they will not you know don't be in tax, but uh, there are some people they buy a land and wait for the short time to that land to increase the price. They will just sell it and do it again. That make the uh, bất động sản industry being the price going really high, and that not a good thing. Yeah, so that is some subtraction. But right now we don't have any detailed law about this or any paper from government about this. It's just about the subtraction. Yeah, and it's have a lot of hold on that subtraction because right now Vietnam is just a developing country, so we have a really bad at manage information because if you want to define that land used in the right or wrong purpose, you have to do a lot of things. Like you have to uh, the people you have to prove some paper, and the government have to go to that maybe that destination to check that do you use this property in the right purpose. Yeah, so they have a lot of stage, and it's yeah I think it's really hard to apply it in practical. Yes. How about in Australia? uh,
Well, in here we have kind of a similar situation. We have a different tax on normal purposes, residency purposes, investment purposes, and farmland purposes. So normally, if you own a really large block of land or something, and you use for farm, a lot of people they don't actually farm. They just put some cow there, let them run around. They just call it a farmland, just to pay tiny tax and wait until that land be developed, have infrastructure move into around that land. They kind of break it into smaller block and they sell it off for profit. I think the same thing happen everywhere. But my opinion is you don't want to centralize all the power to the government to decide whatever they want to do with it. Because if you do something like that, it just make people life harder and harder. I think personally, the reason why in here the price is going up as well is yes, have 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I'll create a different link and then we can join in a different chat. Where was I? Okay, so the house price in here go up as well, like a lot. So every year is going up by 10%, 20%, etc., etc. But the reason why it's going up because just supply and demand itself. I don't think they know other people playing around with it. Let's say if you and the land itself is limited. How should I say? It's in limited quantity. You only have
Yeah.
that block of land, that block of land. Plus, if I'm looking to the graph of the money of the property increase over the year, it look really normal because it going like this and like this. A lot of people look in there, they're gonna say that, well, you have bubble or something like the land increase significantly for no reason and because of some people they buy and they sell in a short period of time, but they do not factor in inflation and the population being grow in that area. If you factor all of that in, it kind of makes
Oh,
sense. It kind of makes
yeah.
sense. I think one of the major issues that happening in Vietnam because again I just mentioned to you earlier that you have a lot of officer that pocket the money and they want to laundering the money. And property is one of the way they can laundering the money. So they try to stop that from happening. But when they doing that, they make the the people who actually want to sell the property or want to buy the property even harder because what is the most value thing that the people can save money on? They just buy a block of land or they're buying a land. And a lot of people are saying that, oh, you're not allowed to buy a block of land and like put it in nothing and then you're not using it, you make a lot of waste. Well, you move to different area of the country, there are a lot of land. Why do you really want to concentrate in one area and you blaming people for the price is too expensive? If you live in central of Ho Chi Minh, like Quận 1, Quận 3 or something like that, the price is really expensive. You move it outside, it's cheaper. It's like the cost is really expensive in the central of the city because first you have a lot of people concentrate in that area, so you have a lot of demand for that block of land. People keep fighting for that. Second of all, you pay for the what I call the convenient tax because if you live in the center of the city, it's really convenient for you, right? It makes sense. It's to me, it makes sense, and it's like I've just heard of a lot of people saying a lot of nonsense. So because you really want to stay away from the government to control the price of the market because we experience it a lot of time that when the government dictate the price of some material in the market, nothing good come happen after that. It's all a bad thing. Because let's say you have the government dictate the price for the fuels at, let's say, at the moment, if the retailer have to buy at, they only allow to sell the fuel as a certain price. And if the seller sell above that certain price, they're going to be fine. But you don't factor in the price that they bought in the fuel, refine, you pay for salary, you pay for property, etc., etc., a lot of expense, and then they come to that price. If you only allow the seller to sell that price, is if they're selling at that price, they do not make any profit. Why do they do it then? Why do they have to do that? It's already happened in America and in Vietnam a couple of years ago. In America, it's about 19 something. So the seller actually sell the food at that price for a certain amount of liter and then they shut it up. They're not going to sell anymore. At this time, who's going to be affected by that? Of course, consumer, right? And if you let the market dictate the price, well, demand, supply. That's it. And a lot of time in America right now, they spark a lot of debate why the house price is so expensive. They do a lot of comparison in one state from a different state. They use, let's say in one state they have to pay at least 1 million to buy a house, but in different state only about 300,000. And they try to figure it out what is the reason for that. Is my still work alright?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Tom?
Yes, really clearly, teacher.
Okay. The reason why for that is they have a lot of rule. When you want to build a house in that curtain type, you have to apply for different rule. You have um, comply with environment, comply with heritage, comply with the zone area, all of that added in. It just make it difficult for people to build a house. So now let's say if you want more house, something like that, you can knock out, you can buy all the property, small property house, you can knock it out, build a like really high building. You have more space for people to live in. But people don't want to do that. See? I don't know. With me, it's when
Yeah.
I'm looking at that, it's really normal to me. But for some reason, so people saying that it's not fair. I don't know. A lot of it's similar. It's similar with a lot of people trying to blame Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They saying that those people have to pay more tax or something like that. I said bullshit. Anyway, let them touch that subject. Let's move to a different subject. So get back to the property. You have to pay for the second property. Yeah. And again, you
Yeah.
just mentioned to that, like if the government want to charge the correct rate and the correct usage of the land right, they have to go down there, do an investigation, fill out form. Jesus, how many headache it gotta be?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. It's happened a lot.
So that is you centralize the power to the government. Is not gonna do anything good for the customer or the
Like,
people.
like, yeah, all the like right now Vietnam policy they just want to reduce the phenomenon called like no it's like you buy a land and keep it for a short time and you sell it for a
Yep.
higher price.
Yep.
So I just want to doing some tasks with that behavior.
Yep.
One more task is that they will it's 20% of the profit that people when people want to move the owner. Yeah, it's chuyển quyền sở hữu. I don't know, but move the owner if they, when you buy that land for 1 billion Việt Nam đồng and you sell it for 1 billion and 1.5 billion. So your profit is 5 million thousand dong. So
Yep.
you have to, and the tax will 20% of that 5. Yeah, but if you can prove that when you buy that property and you have some cost, maybe for repair, restore the house, or maybe some fee, some money for the people, you can just minor that cost and reduce the profit so that the tax will reduce. Yeah, you maybe just 20% of maybe you will cost 200 million for repair the house, so you only being taxed for 20% of 300 million dollars. Yeah,
Okay.
just like
So
that.
I just try to make it. I just try to recap it if I can understand it correctly. So if you buy a
Yes.
house, if you buy a house for $100, do
Yes.
you understand $100?
Yeah.
Okay, just trying to make
100.
Yep. So if you buy a house for $100 and you decide to sell that house, and after you sell that house, you get about $200. So normal case, the government gonna charge you the difference. The difference here is you sold the house for $200, you bought $100, differently of $100. So they're gonna charge tax on 20% of that $100, right?
Yes,
However,
that's
if you
right.
can prove that after you bought the property, you spend about $20 to renovate a house. So now when you sell the house for $200, the cost you spend for the house now is not $100 anymore, it's $120. So you use $200 minus $120, you have about an $800 difference in profit. The government is gonna charge 20% of that $80 of difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that.
In here
Oh.
is more it's more complicated than that. We pay more tax compared to in Vietnam. Vietnam still pay less tax than we used to pay here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But my point is, I should have a similar conversation with my friend on Friday or something. So she's saying that if you buy a house, property A, so you use 6 year rule, right? So 6 years rule, this is how it works. So if you buy a property A, you move in property A, you live for 12 months. You buy another property, you live, let's say property B, you move into property B, and you rent out property A. Okay. Within that's the 6 years period, if you want to sell the property and you don't want to pay tax, you sell it within 6 years from the day that you bought the property up to the day that you sold. So the government not going to charge you any tax. There's some information here, right? Every single time you buy a house or you sold a house, yeah, buy a house, sold a house, whatever. When you sold a house, you pay a no. Let's say when you bought a house, when you buy a house, you pay a stamp duty tax for the government. When you buy a property, it's called name transferring. So that is 5% of the property value. Okay. So, and my friend just told me that if you use 6 year rule and you sold the property, you're not gonna pay any tax for the differentiated. I say, and she quite confident and she quite happy with that. I run a few number and I check a few rule. That true, it correct. But the thing I told her that okay, nice. If you sell within 6 months, within 6 years, the government gonna charge you tax for that, whatever, soever. However, if you sold that property for that amount of money, let's say $1 million or something, with that same amount, I'll ask her the same question. With that same amount of money, can you able to buy a similar properties with that same amount of money? Obviously, the answer is gonna be no. So why do you need to do that? The
Mm.
only the only case that only apply is only beneficial is only apply for person who they buying old house, renovate the house, and sell it up again to make the difference.
Oh, the meeting is going to end for
Yeah.
maybe
Oh
few
shit.
seconds,
Okay,
10 seconds.
I'll just end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you the link
So I
later.
have yeah, I have to go right
Yeah.
now to pick my younger sister from her school.
Cool.
Yeah. So goodbye. Goodbye.